You've probably heard your teacher say the slope is the rise over the run. So if you ever forget which one's which, try to picture what your teacher said. The first number in each of your coordinates is the x coordinate, and this is the x-axis. So that's talking about your run. The second coordinate is your y coordinate, so that's talking about your rise. If you're trying to do rise over run, you better be talking about the blue numbers in the top part of a fraction and the black numbers in the bottom part of a fraction. And so to do that, we just need to find out how far those points have changed. So between negative 0.5 and 5, we can find out how far of distance that is by taking one of the y-coordinates and subtracting it by the other y-coordinate. And so that's 5 subtracted by negative 0.5 there. That's why I have two negative signs. And the run is found by finding out the distance between these 2 points. It's 4. I mean, there's 4 coordinates between them, but to formally put it there, it's negative 4 subtracted by negative 8. And so you can simplify from there. A 5 minus a negative 0.5 is 5.5. Negative 4 minus a negative 8, that's negative 4 plus 8. Because when you minus a negative, you're actually adding. So there's our slope. 5.5 over 4, or 11 over 8 is another way of saying that. Don't worry too much about that. I think if you convert this to a decimal number, you should be all set. But to formalize that, your teacher probably put this formula on the board. The slope is found by subtracting the y-coordinates and then dividing it by subtracting the x-coordinates. Because again, y tells you how much you rise, and x tells you how much you run. And then the only other part is labeling your points here. You call this your x1 because it's an x-coordinate. It's your first one. Call this y1. Call this x2. Call this y2. So if you plug those back in the formula, you'll see you're doing exactly what we did above here. So one last quick way of finding the slope that I saw from a previous student. They used to take this coordinate over here and rewrite it directly below the other one. And they knew that the slope was the rise of the run, so they just looked at the y-coordinates and they say, okay, how much did I have to get to get from here to here? And I had to rise 5.5 whole points. And then they looked at the x-coordinates and they said, okay, I started at negative 8 and I ended up negative 4. That must have meant I went plus 4 points, positive 4 points. Because I went from a really low amount of numbers, negative 8, up to a slightly better amount, negative 4. So that's the same slope that we got from our calculation over there. So stack them. Maybe that will stick out in your brain a little bit better.